Hello everyone, it's Andy from Skirmish Hobby Projects again, and today we're starting ourselves a new project. So, specifically, it is a Saxon Warband for the Pillage wargame. Pillage is a bit brand new on the scene. A mate of mine at my local wargaming club pointed me out to it. Having looked at the rules, it was really quite interesting, but the thing that most interested me about it was the fact that Saxons, Vikings, Normans, all fairly iconic, sort of that 1066 period. If you're into sort of history, you know that 1 year 1066 was really quite pivotal, with sort of quite a lot of iconic moments, but then in the wider history of things, really cool. Aspiration is going to be that build some of these bits up, put them on table, and start playing games and show you off the game a bit. But there are already some channels out there with some Let's Plays, so if you're vaguely interested or just want to know a bit more in the interim and you're a bit impatient like I am, go over there and have a little look. But we'll see how we got on. For now, let's get on to looking at some of the sprues and building some of the models. Okay, so I've I was about to say unboxed, unbagged, I suppose is probably a more appropriate term. Some of the sprues, and as you can see, I've split them up into loosely their sort of main components. So the warband is basically the best thing they've got for a starter set. For the game, 32-ish models for around about £35 to £40 all in. You will have to buy bases separately to keep playing the game, but Victrix sells some online, their own website. Tenner gets you something like near 100. What does it say on the box? Gets you yes number of bases within the box, or bag rather. So there's plenty to run with. So I'll have too many and I'll go from there. But yeah, basically what you can see here is a bit of breakdown. So you got at the front here, you've got some horsemen. Over here is your armored and unarmored infantry bodies. As you can see, armored here, unarmored there. The middle one is predominantly bowmen, slingers, your ranged units, which are no prizes for guessing, given that you can see all the bows. But the focus of today's episode is this slot over here. So the command sprue. Let me clear away the rest of it. We'll go through there. I'll talk a little bit about the plan and start building them. Okay, so that's all the pieces cut up. I will probably not be able to show you how I attach them all individually, just because I'm limited with sort of hands and my computer screen, but also my phone screen. But as you can sort of see, the instructions are pretty clear from the sprue. All you do is sort of cut everything off and put them on the side. It's going to be relatively simple to pull together. The shields are the only possibly tricky bit inherently, because you've got to cut off a tiny little hand like that and then glue it into the hole the back of the shield to then attach to the arm. But in a way, that's also kind of useful, because it means you can keep it separate for the purpose of painting. As much as I always say, the painting is a little bit of a necessary evil in this hobby, as far as I'm concerned. It still doesn't mean I want to be turbo rubbish at it. So I will make a sort of concerted effort, and if it means that I assemble things later because I can get behind it, then I will. I've already measured some of these bits, so again, this will be the Chieftain model. So as you can sort of see, I'll try and do what I can here. If I turn his body around, and then with the cloak, as you can see, it's dead easy. There's already a bit of one on the back, and then it just covers in like, just comes in and goes like that to an extent. Again, sorry for the back of my hand. I know it's really, really impressive. Okay, it's not going to work. No worries. You get the gist. It will fit on there nicely when you've got two hands and a bit of glue to make it work, as opposed to single-handed rubbishing it like I do. I'll try and get photos as I go, so you can sort of see what each piece looks like when it's attached. You will also note, and the thing I want to talk about here is with the as yet unnamed monk. He will have a name at some point. Got a couple of build options with him. So his left hand can either be a club or a cross on a stave. And his right hand can then be a spear or an unarmed hand. I actually really quite like the idea of him having the cross in one hand and the club in the other. Just as a bit of a, here is the cross, you know, I'm a healer, he threw Christ on the tabletop and all of that. But in my left hand, I've got a club, because in case you come near me, I can hit you. But typically people are weaker on their left hand. So obviously, he's a monk. He's not really a fighter, but he will defend himself. So a bit of movie magic. I am probably going to, and as you can see, the spear in the other hand, because I think they're meant to be banner holders. I will probably look to cut the top end of this one off, cut it off at the hand, cut this one off at the hand as well and effectively swap it. So he will have the cross going up and it will just be on a long stick so that then I can do what I want. Like I said, I'll try and get photos and add them on as well. Right, I'll go into the building process and see you on the other side. Okay, so that is the build process done. Coming back to this a little bit later as I've had a few little faffs here and there. Firstly, as you can see, shield no longer attached to my Chieftain on the left. Long story short, I tried to put it on. It didn't really want to dry effectively, so I figured best thing would be to put the arm on, and then the shield I can paint separately and add on once it's all painted and done, and that is fine. If I quickly come up like this, I'm quite happy with his sort of arm pose and everything like that, and I've glued them onto their bases. It's just so I can show off the Victrix bases. They're a bit thinner than things you might expect to see from a place like Games Workshop and everything, but I suspect that, again, by the time they're sort of primed and I've based them a bit, actually you won't really care. It'll look like they're more involved with the terrain, so it might be a bit more realistic as well. Over to Friar Nameless or Monk Nameless, whatever he. One day I will eventually decide to give him a name. I am actually quite happy with how that's turned out. It took me a couple of attempts with his cross on a stave, mainly because I was a muppet and I didn't really cut it effectively. If in doubt, cut a little bit more. So I took my hobby knife and just drilled out a little bit into his hand, which allowed me to put the rod in to make it set. And now it's glued quite tightly. But yeah, I think he's going to look quite nicely. And then last but by no means least, my my Huscarls, who I think look quite badass on their bases now. As you can see, you got a shield on the back of both of them as well. One that is to help me pick them out when I go. Obviously, not least of all, the fact that they've got two-handed Dane axes will depict what they are, but it also, in keeping with the plan I've got for the wider vibe of my sort of armoured elite infantry. It's also so that for the purposes of the Pillage game, each model gets an armour value. Essentially, it is none, some, or full. Different names as you go. If they've got chainmail armor like this guy does, and so does the other one, and a shield, then that's full armored. So my thinking is I can make them full armored, two-handed Dane axes, bit of a tank in battle. But obviously the caveat today is I now will struggle to take some other models within the army. So that is a compromise I'll have to make. But no, but thank you to everyone who watched. Please feel free to give any sort of feedback or comments in the put any feedback in the comments, I should have said. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this as amateur friendly as possible because new game, sort of learn as I go. I've been doing bits here and there, but it's taken about a year or so to get back into hobbying. Courtesy of life, baby, dog, as you can hear in the background, etc., etc. But no, please please do sort of comment or give me any tips or tricks. If you've got anything sort of above amateur level you'd like to suggest, again, just put links and stuff in there. I'd like to keep this as sort of amateur friendly and allow for exploration without this channel becoming too great, at least not in the short term. But that's it for now. Thanks everyone, and happy hobbying.